Good evening to all my lit lovers, and thank you again for tuning in to the Vic and Jesse Show.
Tonight, we are glad to have professional analysis essay writers Ben Stobart and Evan Hopkins.
Now let's give them a warm welcoming to let's give them a warm welcoming to the stage.
You're right there, Ben? I don't think I am. I think I broke my knee.
Oh well. Hey, stick it through our lit living
God.
talk.
She touched me.
How are you guys today?
I'm wonderful. Like, I cannot believe I'm here. I'm so in love with you, Victoria Morales. Like,
I love all of our guests.
I
too.
love you more.
I think I'm actually carrying a disease. Like I feel like I'm coming down with something. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's not good. You think you caught that on the plane right over?
You know what? We might have. It was just like we had to carry all of our luggage, and it was just such a hassle today. You would not believe those. We almost lost our seats.
And they were beneath the surface.
I know.
Underneath the plane.
Yeah,
Like, they're almost in between.
Yes, okay. Well, we're very happy to have you guys on the show tonight.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Like, oh
We
my
are
god,
so
I can't
happy to be
believe I'm
here.
here.
It's like a dream come true, literally. A dream about this.
Well, tonight we'd like to ask you some questions about your essay you just wrote. Is that fine?
No, it's okay.
Okay, so you guys recently dropped an analysis essay from an excerpt from The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, is that right?
Yes, yes,
we
it
did.
is.
And
Oh.
may we just say it come out phenomenal.
I would agree.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
So, how did you go about writing this essay? Like, what was the first step?
The first step in writing a good essay, always, to really look at your prompt and just rip her open.
Put your hands in there.
Yep, and like really divide out like what you have to do, find out everything, just read it and digest it.
Okay, and why's that? What's so
Prompts?
important about the prompt?
Prompts are just so important to an essay. This one, for instance, told us so much about the story itself and not just the expert. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien is just a fantastic novel. It highlights the experiences that the soldiers went through in the Vietnam War and just how much they had to deal with and all the weights that they had to carry. And Tim O'Brien himself is just a phenomenal author, and he's so great, and he's such an amazing man. And he was actually a Vietnam War veteran, which makes the story all more real. And then we also, it gives us the purpose to the essay is. So for this one, we were analyzing how O'Brien uses literary devices and imagery and all this wonderful stuff. And we had to find out how that really crafted and molded the tone and attitude that the soldiers had for the war itself.
And stemming off of that task, how did you guys develop your thesis statement?
Oh, so the way that we like developed our thesis statement is we took the task that was like written through the prompt that we really like dove in and read, and which was to find like the attitude of like what this passage was, which we found out to be, well, after like in-depth reading it and analyzing it, is basically what the soldiers had to carry like mentally or physically, just overall what they had to endure in Vietnam during this awful war.
Got it. And how did you pick up that tone throughout this excerpt?
It's really woven throughout the passage itself. You can really see whenever he talks about something, there's always that hint of this immeasurable weight that the soldiers carry, physically, mentally, diseases. And it was just so inspiring and so brought the story to life. It made you really think about what these soldiers carried and went through during the war.
How did you go about organizing your essay?
Good question.
Yeah, so we pretty much broke down much of what he talked about during the passage and how he talked about what the soldiers carried. So he really used hyperboles, these exaggerations, and it's to distinguish from that real truth and story truth. Sometimes a story doesn't get across what you want to get across unless you really make them feel it. And these hyperboles really, it's exaggerated, but that's what he felt, and that's how he was feeling it.
Right.
So you can really feel it. And then the other way we organized it was through double meaning. And that was also, you read something and you're like, what does that mean? And then you read it again and again and again, and you realize there were two meanings to it, that it had not only the physical meaning on the paper, but the meaning between the lines. And, you know, you really had to read for it and understand how it came together, and that's how we did it.
That's exactly how we did it.
Well, we are so happy we were able to have you guys here on the show tonight. And you heard it here first, Lit Lovers. Don't ever scratch the surface, but get beneath it.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank you for
coming
tuning
out.
in.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes.